Hey guys, Nolen and Jason here with Roofing Webmasters.
Howdy.
I have an interesting one today, I think, and we'll see where it leads.
Sort of high concept for a roofing marketing podcast.
Has roofer marketing reached the technological singularity? So I'm going to read this, and I'm going to give my 2 cents on this, but I'm going to read a couple of definitions. The word singularity. So first I'll read the technological singularity is simply the singularity, but there's a bit of a change to it. Is a hypothetical point at which technological growth becomes uncontrollable. So, but moreover, some people would argue that a human brain can't understand it anymore.
Right.
The word singularity has many different meanings. It depends on context. For example, natural show more. So that's the basic thing. If it's the singularity in like a really gloom and doom deal, it's where robots take over. We can't.
Yeah, we're not talking about Skynet.
They're smarter than us, and best case scenario, we can become one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and live forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Which is probably not what's going to happen.
But the technological singularity is where it's like it's beyond my understanding.
Yeah, there's all this stuff going on, and we kind of know what we put into it. We know what comes out the other end, but we have no idea what happens in the middle.
Yeah. Somebody told me. I was fumbling with a credit card, and someone, I had just gotten my hair cut, and she said, "Well, we have Google Pay and other stuff." And I said, "No, I'm not letting the man get further down the road any faster than he has to." And she looked at me like, "What the hell?" But so I get it. Like you could apply this to a lot of things. You see older people like fumbling with technology and stuff like that. But from our perspective, with a roofer, with marketing, I'm going to argue that no, but it sure does seem like people think this. So what I mean by that is that when somebody, I'm worried about the future when I think about this sort of stuff, but a roofer today can understand marketing and had better do what he can while he can, you know?
Right.
So currently, not only could someone understand it, but they could control their own propaganda machine and put forth their own image to the world in digital format through branding. Now, if somebody screws this up, though, and doesn't understand it, which I'm going to argue that almost nobody does this properly.
Right.
And I don't think it's because they couldn't do it. I don't know it's because they're lazy or dumb or any of that stuff either, or willfully.
Pick one.
I mean, I do think some people are willfully ignorant because it's hard.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't call that lazy because it's not like the people are working hard.
It is genuinely hard. It is just hard to wrap your head around.
It is. So that's why I'm not going to
And we do this for a living.
I'm not going to label somebody on it because it wouldn't be fair to say, oh, somebody's lazy because they're dumb because they can't understand it. It's like, no, there's a lot of stuff in today's society for us to get at, and it's frustrating. But when somebody can do what they can do right now, it's worth trying to get past it. Because what's at stake? I mean, what's at stake is somebody literally like dominating marketing, and since it's so difficult for everybody right now, you just have to barely push past that little spot that's uncomfortable.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you're like, not only like looked at like a genius and you're marketed for, but you're like partaking in what, the big show of marketing, which is to show up in Google, to like dominate the area. Nolan Walker here for Data Pins. You may not know, but I own a software company, and we have a proprietary software called Data Pins, DATAPINS. You can search it at datapins.com. This is not white labeled. I actually own this piece of software, and I made it for you. It was made for contractors. You can actually take pictures of jobs, up to 6, make a caption about the material, the brand, the situation, the repairs, and post that back to your individual pages on your website, just like that. It's super simple. Anyone could use it. It also texts and emails your clients direct links to your reviews, so it helps reputation and reviews, which helps conversion and map placement. The geo coordinate gets grabbed buy data pins, and Google can tell where you are. So instead of them just seeing reviews, they see all jobs or even estimates that you do. This vastly outperforms just getting reviews. Helps the map show up, helps organic keywords. And remember, those captions that you're putting in there help expand the keywords per page, and it's great regular content. I love it. We made it just for you. It is organic optimization on steroids for both your website, your rankings, and the map placement. Check out data pins. I think you'll be happy you did. So let's talk about like the nature of it, like as far as the branding is concerned. I guess to try to figure out the basic components, like to get a website, it's maddening for people not to understand it. But like I was breaking this down to somebody asked me for business advice, and I don't think the guy wanted really business advice. I was dealing with, I think he wanted my business for something. My wife has to explain this because I'm like socially inept at picking up these clues from people. I think he might have wanted to learn a little bit about it, but you go to him and say, first off, you're like, hey, you start a business to earn income through a business. It's got some tax advantages, but you're still an income earner. And then you take that money and you invest it, and you have to get it out of that because to earn income forever is hard.
Right.
It's difficult. That's why businesses go under. But so I was trying to explain that concept. I said, you have to do the same thing that anybody else would do. But then I was like, what would I tell this guy? And I was like, on a marketing deal. I said, okay, so let's explain marketing. So this is where I think people miss it to start with. And I think this will be a good understanding for what marketing is, and then relate it to the digital aspect of it. So somebody starts a business, gets a name, gets a logo. And if it's digital, they have to have a website.
Right.
If it's a service business, they need a Google business profile.
Right.
And then they get some reviews. So they have a website that talks about their business. They link it off their Google business profile, and they get some reviews. And then depending on the format of the business, they then put out some branded information. It might be more reviews and content, or data pins and pins and geocoordinates. And in this case, this guy,
whatever's applicable to what they do.
He was going to be he's a remodeler, this
Okay.
guy. So he remodeled condos. So he needed some videos of that to make this market feel comfortable with him, so that someone could buy the service in comfort, because contractors screw this up all the time.
Right.
It's a little bit different than a roofer who really just needs reviews and pins and content and a brand around that. That digital signaling comes in though. But whatever it is, you have the basics for it. You have an LLC or a corporation, you have a logo and a name hopefully topically relevant. Told this guy the same thing.
Right.
Condo remodeler in the name, at least remodeling. Roofer is a roofer, roof in the name. And then
not construction, not exteriors.
Right.
Yeah.
It's directly relevant. And then you get a website, you get a business card, so you put that together, and then you have to put out some content. And then that content that comes in along with reviews goes on forever. And that is the beginning stages of it.
Right.
But most people don't do that properly.
That's literally the starting line.
That's the starting point. And then the digital signaling come in. And then the beauty of this whole thing is you can build your own brand however you want. That's the digital signaling. And then the digital signaling comes in from reviews and content and pins, and maybe from some distribution of content like a video or a social post or something.
Right.
And then those signals get pinged off your brand and then help you show up in organic rankings. And hopefully get a lead and then have the lead convert. And the more that the brand is complete and feels comfortable, the more likely somebody is to buy.
Right.
But people don't ever think about it.
Yeah.
So I was, where I was on vacation and working vacation, and not one of those contractors on that island, not one of them has this.
Yeah.
Not one of them has.
They're probably all word of mouth and that kind of.
Yeah, there's one guy that has like a website and some reviews, and his trucks rolling up and down the one or two main streets. And he's very visible there. But he still didn't have pictures of jobs and other things, but he was the closest thing to it.
Yeah.
But nobody else had it. And the guy that I was speaking to, I could tell wasn't listening to me properly. So I'm like, okay, makes it, yeah. But someone's got to get that stuff down. And if I had to say what they miss, which makes them miss this, is that they miss the ability to say, this is my brand, and I'm going to get some help like Roofing Webmasters, and I'm going to do some myself, and I'm going to make sure that digital signaling comes out to the world so that it can be read by Google, so I can be as high as possible for the cheapest, best business that's ever existed.
Right.
And if I'll do that, I'll dominate my local area. What most people do instead is they kind of give up somewhere along the line. They buy leads, buy clicks, which isn't anything wrong with it. And then but there is something wrong with it if you miss all the cheap stuff. In the majority.
Yeah, if you've jumped ahead to the expensive method and missed the big show, as we like to say. Can I talk about entities a little bit and how it relates to this whole singularity thing? This is relevant. Where that weird complexity comes in, and things that people don't understand, because people still thought because paid search still operates off keywords, off terms.
Right.
People still think of that in terms of SEO and especially local search and everything else, but internally Google doesn't look at it that way anymore. They have these things they call entities. Right. And an entity is basically any concept. And that concept can be roofing, it can be construction, it can be house. And they effectively have a sort of mind map approach where each entity connects to other entities, and this entity is a bigger one, and these are smaller ones that associate with it, and entities associate out with other ones. And
so the word roofing might, also associate with the word tile, or TPO, or hail damage.
Right.
And so
hail damage would also, it would apply to roofing, and it would also apply to auto repair, insurance. And it would also apply to insurance. It would also apply to meteorological studies, and all this stuff is interconnected.
They'll get your entity of stuff properly. And so people will screw up different aspects of this.
Right.
And so they'll be on the road to understanding digital technology and then screw it up. We just got off a podcast about multiple locations.
Right.
And so somebody will say, well, we're exterior work. We work with Xactimate and we're a construction company. But then the word construction doesn't necessarily relate well enough on entity to roofing.
Right.
And then somebody goes to another location and now they're no longer local. And so you can be on this train.
Yeah, then you no longer relate to the entity of that city. And what you want to do, ideally, for your brand, as you were talking about, is you want your brand, your business, to become an entity within Google's brain, for lack of a better term.
Right.
You want Google to view your business as an entity that's related to these services you offer. That's why you said construction.
Right.
If they more closely associate you with construction than roofing, you're less likely to show up for a roofing search. And if they more closely associate you with the entity of this city over here, you're much less likely to show up for this city over there. And if you, as we talked about the issue with the guy previously, that he had been pretty good in one city, in a smaller city. He was actually doing quite well, but then he ruined it to try to go after a bigger city. Right. And so all of a sudden he was floating out here and wasn't well associated with any locality.
That's a really good one, Jason.
And if a roofer is not associated with a local entity, you're not going to get anything.
So the mere nature of this conversation, because somebody's going to have to rewind that to listen to it.
Yeah. That's where that complexity comes in that makes it so hard to understand.
So when somebody's on the path, trying to get to the path, I mean, don't give up on it. Get professional services help.
That understands this.
So when you call, and if you move locations, you have to call us. Yeah. If you want to add a location, you have to call us, not because we're going to give you permission, but because if you do it improperly, you're going to explode your stuff. But you can stay abreast stuff, and you can figure it out. I think I've speculated on this. I think about it too much. It's not like 5% of all roofers do business with us, but I would say that only 5% of all roofers attempt to market properly.
Right.
Attempt to. And I would argue that only 20% of those people
Of the 5% that
Right.
try to do it, only 20% actually achieve it.
So that means that if somebody tries and then continues to try, they'll be in the 1%. So if they try and they're reasonable and they continue to try, you're in the 1 percentile. Roofers can easily expect to eventually dominate in your marketplace. But most people throw their hands up. That's why I wanted it, because most people, even though we have hundreds of clients, a lot of great clients, but most of the people that I talk to don't figure this out, don't understand it, screw it up. And it's not like they don't make some money, but they miss everything here. Yeah. They miss this.
They get to a point of relative comfort with their current place in the market, and they don't realize how much bigger their place in the market could be.
Nolen Walker here for Roofers Paradise. Thank you for checking out our podcast here for Roofing Webmasters, where we talk about nothing but marketing. But I'd love for you to check out Roofers Paradise, where I personally interview and talk with roofers. We talk about their successes, their failures, their dreams, their goals and ambitions. It's a great podcast where we actually speak to roofers. Love to have you check out Roofers Paradise. You can find us on YouTube by searching Roofers Paradise. Any platform for podcasts, search Roofers Paradise. Be sure to subscribe, or you can actually go to roofersparadise.show. Look forward to having you over at Roofers Paradise.
So I have a friend, I've told people, I don't know if I should tell people this stuff, it makes me squeamish some, but get personal on these things. But I go to Hawaii, I go to Maui, and I lived there off and on a couple times, and I still go. So I just got back from being there during the summer, and I'll work, and I remodeled a condo, and I really like this one guy. He's the guy that I'm talking about, Zach. We looked at his website one time.
Oh yeah.
Zach turned 39, I guess, while I was there. He's got a guy that works for him who's a great guy too, named Corey. Corey's 29, and I'm 49. So it was interesting to me. So Zach's kind of rolling, doing well. He's a multi-talented individual, and I'm going to relate it back to this marketing stuff and just business success and Singularity and understanding everything. But so Zach has got a lot of skill sets I don't have. He's an artist. He's an interior decorator. He's a construction guy. He's a remodeling company owner. And he's got a lot of cool things going. But he's so artsy that he doesn't like, he's not artsy, like this is a tough guy, but he's a surfer. Yeah. But he doesn't love doing the contracting work entirely himself. But he's getting more into it. It makes him a lot of money, and all these skill sets together, people like him, because he can put together your whole project and turnkey it by himself,
Wow.
Color choices and decorate it when it's done and get the furniture, the whole bit, everything. So I love the guy. I think he's great. And he's got this other kid working for him who wants to, he sees all this, he wants to do it. Zach's just very well liked guy, but doesn't market at all. I mean, he's more of a free spirit guy, hence a lot of people in Maui, I'm on the outskirts looking in, and I'm better at business, but this guy's sitting in Maui doing his thing, which I always have respect for.
Right.
But he won't market. And I'm like, he won't market properly. And I'm like, oh, you could take over, you could take this stuff over, but he won't do it. He's starting to kind of want to do it. I don't, yeah. Part of it is he doesn't want to, but I don't think they realize what their lifestyle would be like what it would be like, because it's difficult to stay on the island if you don't make a gob of money.
Yeah.
Younger guy hadn't even, and he's cool too. He's great. But he's got a long ways to go on getting it all set up, and he doesn't have all the skill sets of the older guys. The problem is, you get older, it's like hard to figure all this stuff out, So I didn't figure out a ton of this stuff until recently on some of it. Like, not that I didn't do the marketing right, but you can't screw up the other part of it, like investing or doing something with your money, or not over expanding your business to where the expenses are so high you don't have a net income. I mean, there's so many things that will screw up a roofer or business entrepreneur's ability to earn money or figure shit out. So much of it.
Yeah.
And just any human being, really, right? But if someone's trying to own a business, make a net profit, figure that out, and then do the marketing too.
Yeah.
And so
owning a business has never been easy.
never been easy.
And it's only gotten exponential.
It's harder, but potentially more lucrative.
Yeah.
My pessimistic side tells me that it's over potentially soon. Like, my wife and kids were eating at a restaurant that they have the main location is like a Fort Worth institution named Old South Pancake House. They opened one in Burleson outside.
I didn't even know they'd opened another location.
They've got a location in Burleson, and my kids were eating there, and a robot served someone next to them. So, little robot thing with trays on it, and you told it.
I'm assuming when you say robot, you mean like a stump on tracks,
Yeah.
not like an android coming in.
Well, it was a little. No, it didn't have tracks. I mean, but it would roll around.
It was on wheels.
It was on wheels, and it would. You could put dishes on it or come out with food. I mean, my wife said it was dumb to the point that that it actually took more time to use, but it's getting there,
Yeah.
So you've got to figure out like how to stay healthy, how to have a good relationship, how not to get oversaturated with technology, how to run a business that has low enough overhead and enough volume to make a profit. I always tell people too, is like, well, nothing matters without a lead and a sale.
Right.
And they say, well, I'm going to go get a truck or a wrap or do this or that. I said, none of that matters. Like, none of it matters at all. And in fact, that guy that had the truck that drove up and down the street, if you're on an island, is like a couple of roads, even though Maui's big, but there's like 2 or 3 main roads. And so I was like, what I see is I said, I do see good branding, but I see a guy with a shirt on. They all wear yellow shirts, drive his truck. I've seen the trucks open, they get tools inside. So what that tells me is that they can't be a sub, that they're employed in a very bad state for an employee to have. And that guy's expenses may be so high that he doesn't earn a profit. What I'd rather see, and this is so I see businesses and it unnerves me. It's like, because I want to see somebody just kill it.
Yeah.
Like I've changed that about myself recently too in the last 5 years or so. When somebody calls, I genuinely want them to be like mega wealthy and successful. Like, that's what we're here for. So and I'm sure like Zach does great, but I want to see him just killing it. I want to just.
You want to see him own the market for his services.
I do, and I'd love to be part of that, to where I'm like, oh, he used some of my advice and he killed it. He did it. I don't even want. I'm not looking to even. I'm like, I don't want your business. I don't want to work with you. Because I work with roofers, plumbers, HVAC. I don't work with contractors doing remodeling.
Right.
Not that. But a guy that hasn't gotten to that point in his head anyway yet wouldn't pay for it anyway, and I know that. I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
I could run, but I don't want to run something totally out of my area too. I like to specialize so that we understand somebody. But I want to see he's a friend of mine. I want to see him successful. It's like, God, just do this, and like it would be huge, like huge, and like there's nothing to do. All you got to do is go get a website of GBP, get some reviews, put up like 5 before and afters of your jobs, and
and you'll be so far ahead of everybody else
it'd
on
be
this
crazy.
island that you're
Yeah.
done. Yeah.
Go knock on, meet all the managers, all the condo deals, and maybe postcard a couple of communities. Like I only get postcards from like if I own a condo community, I get like real estate agents only.
Yeah.
Only thing I get, like 1 a week, and they all need this. So all the owners are like on the mainland, So they need trusted people there. So I was like, you need these trusted digital signals to go out. A little bit different than a roofer.
Yeah.
But like that's what you need, man. And like if you'll do this, like you won't even be able to handle it. And a lot of contractors' mentality is like, well, I don't know if I could handle it, get enough people. And I was like, well, that's why you specialize. You do a low end, high end, that's it. Your condos only, that's it. You don't get off in the weeds of like weird shit, But like a roofer will, get into this stuff, but get into different types of roofer, but it's pretty streamlined. They're a roofer on top of that,
They know their materials. They're usually certified by manufacturers, and they can get in and out and put that stuff in quick.
I've been to those certification courses. They're bullshit, man. I sprayed foam and they gave me a certificate. It looked like.
And I saw the foam you sprayed.
Looked like shit.
Yeah, it's pretty horrible.
Hand welded PVC is like it wouldn't have held water to save your life, man. It's like, yeah. But anyway, but yeah, so I mean, it just, I want people to understand it. I want them to stick the course. It's not too late yet. They can get it, you know.
Right.
Anyway, but yeah, absolutely people can do it, and they need to do it. Man, they got to do it. They got to figure out, you know, a couple of things: earning that profit, investing that money, and running that business. But they got to get a lead in the sale. Like, none of that other stuff happens. You can't even stay healthy without enough money anymore, hardly. You
Right.
know?
I mean, no, in this country, no question.
No, you can't steer clear of glyphosate and whatever other shit's in the food if you don't have a little bit of money, just a little bit. So they got to get a lead, they got to get a sale, they got to understand the technology, and everything else comes from that. Their ability to provide the service, the ability to make a profit, the ability to do everything else. So I just, man, I wish that people, if they listen to our podcast, they'll understand shit tons of it, really. I don't know what we need to do next, man, on one of these podcasts to help people understand stuff, but we'll do one for data pens again. We need to do that one.
Yeah, we need an update on that.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on this, though, for people to understand it?
No, I was, I made the point I wanted to about the whole entity thing and how you have to be an entity that's connected to the services you provide and the area you provide them. I speaking of data pins, I often tell our clients when they're asking me, you know, advice on it, I say that data pins, local search wants two questions asked more than anything else. What do you do and where do you do it? And the entity, that model in your head, kind of keep that in mind. You need, as an entity, you need to have a connection to the area you're performing service and the service you perform, service or services.
Regular signaling
Yeah.
of it. I guess I will do this. I'll sum up here and give an example of fundamental. And I do this stuff quite a bit, but I'm gonna throw it out because if somebody doesn't understand this, they'll screw it all up.
Right.
So there's a lot of other moving pieces, like Jason said, in the area in which you do business, which is local. If you get outside of local, there's problems, but you'd have to call us. We just did one about it. That's a different topic.
Right.
But let's say that you're in a local city and you're a roofer. You need a website. The content inside the website is what helps the map or the keywords show up in the first place.
Right.
It needs to be related to that local city. That's in the content, the title, the meta title tags and stuff, the meta titles. And then you'll have a Google business profile, which needs reviews. You'll send signaling in regularly to this, and it'll all be as top quality as possible. So good code base. If you don't have a page for TPO, you won't show for TPO, etc. Not a page for roof insurance claims help, you won't show for that. Those pages of content are where the keywords come from and how the map shows up better and how the keywords show up at all under the maps or if the map doesn't show up.
Right.
The signaling of that, such as your reputation reviews, helps it. Auxiliary signaling, like your BBB review, or even a direct link from Facebook or direct click, or even someone typing in your local name, like ABC Roofer, branded signaling helps your brand and show up there. And so you can affect all that stuff. You might have a couple of auxiliary components like a social media account or like a YouTube account that will help give some extra strength to the brand. Having code base in the site, content in the site, relevant to your local city, worked on regularly, things like pins, which is digital hand raises of where your jobs are, pictures of jobs, captions of jobs, on individual pages on the website show regular movement that Google needs to see. The reviews show regular movement Google needs to see, and a couple of auxiliary components. We also worry about stuff like speed, domain authority, some inbound linking, citations, stuff like this. And then as the signals come in, your brand and trust is built, which in essence is search engine optimization or SEO.
Right.
And then you become the better brand and deserve to show up in ranking as time goes on. That in turn makes the map show up, helps reputation reviews. You can text and email clients, call clients for reviews. The organic shows up, makes the phone ring, helps you make estimates, gets leads, and then ultimately gets sales which translates into jobs and revenue, at which point hopefully you'll run a tight ship. Stay in the weeds, always stay with the marketing. Never hire an internal marketing person unless they're just going to have a dual job and wear another hat to help you do some other sort of marketing.
If they're going to assist you with it, that's
Right.
fine, but don't hand it off entirely to
Don't
somebody
hand it
else.
off and not understand it, and don't expect them to be able to compete with somebody like Roofing Webmasters, who has a staff of 15 who's done this for 12 to 13 years.
Right.
You have us do your end of it, and you'll do your end. You know, we'll do our end better to help you show up in ranking. You can still participate and do stuff. I'm not saying that, but you need to understand, figure all that out. That part of it gives you those leads, gives you those sales in order for you to run proper service and make a profit. And if you can just think about your brand in your entity area and sending out regular signaling and trying to.
Right.
So some people will just like get angry and like, you damn dirty web geeks, like you damn dirty apes, like y'all handle it, you know?
Yeah.
That's basically the attitude that a lot of people give. That's the wrong attitude to have. We do handle a ton of stuff, and then you handle some stuff, and then you think about it, and you stay on the right track. And when you get frustrated because you got off track and the technological singularity or Google algorithm spanked you, you don't throw your hands up and determine that you can't understand any of it and give up,
Right.
which is what a lot of people do. Even if it's not that directly evident, people will have a bad experience, get a bad web team, move locations, lose their GBP ranking, add locations, lose their all organic and GBP rankings,
Right.
and then throw their hands up and have to pay for nothing but leads from Home Advisor, Angels List, or Yelp, or pay for ads on Google or Facebook or Instagram, and never really get any organic ranking where over 70% of clicks come from, where over 80% of people go to look for roofers. The big show, miss the big show, miss the big profits,
Right.
miss the whole deal of technology and showing up online. Miss the whole boat.
End up paying $50,000 a month for Google ad clicks that don't convert, as we talked about in another podcast.
By their own admission. Well,
By their own admission.
didn't work.
Yeah, they said it didn't work. It's like they're spending the budget, right? It's working perfectly
It
for
worked.
Google.
It worked. It worked well, just not providing the return that they wanted.
Right.
Yeah, different podcast, but what was that one called? How to show up on multiple Google Map rankings,
Something like that.
explained, or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was
Yeah. Multiple locations, I think.
that was a really good one. You can figure it out. You can do it.
Nolen Walker here for Roofing Webmasters. I want you to consider becoming one of our clients. We've done this for 12 years, have hundreds of clients. We help everybody with their design, their code, their content, showing up on Google as high as possible. Clients get regular call volume. If you've never experienced what I call the big show, showing up on Google organically, which is where the vast majority of the clicks occur, on your map, your reputation, your reviews, your organic keyword ranking, you owe it to yourself to try us. We even have proprietary software that we own called data pens that lets you post pictures of jobs, unique captions that increase keywords and long tail keywords, your rankings on Google, text and emailing clients about reviews, even posting pins and photos and captions back to Google. All this helps your organic rankings. Data pens is fantastic, and the work we do here at Roofing Webmasters is fantastic. Please give us a call. We'd love to hear from you.
I often wonder if I should get off in this too much, like the success part of it, the figuring the aspect out of figuring it all out. I do want to stay on some topics like somebody can figure out their map rankings, that sort of thing. The problem with a lot of this stuff is that people just, won't do it. They just won't do it.
Yeah.
I'll give you another example of one before I shut up, because this one's kind of, I almost didn't think I was going to talk about this one, but I'm not going to say anything rude about my coach. I have a coach, business coach.
Yeah.
I like my coach, obviously. I've had him for 4 years.
Yeah.
He helps me stay head screwed on straight about stuff so that I don't get too off base, because it's easy to have, I suffer from probably a little higher anxiety than most people. Probably what keeps me in business, by the way, so I don't hate it, but I have to deal with it. So
Right.
Coach helps me keep my head screwed on straight, keep after dreams and goals and moving forward and not get too far off track. I mentioned the coach's name in a podcast, and we've talked about the ridiculousness of this. So a guy that listens to the podcast that needs marketing badly, and my coach doesn't share anything really on any of this, but he calls my coach.
Oh boy.
So my coach coaches the guy.
Okay.
But he has no marketing team. So it's the concept of it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know?
He called the wrong guy.
Called the wrong guy first.
No offense to your coach.
No offense to the coach.
Yeah.
He didn't call the wrong guy. I'm not even going to say that.
He called the guy in the wrong order. Should have called us first, then called the coach.
Needs all professionals on his wealth management team, but maybe not be able to afford all wealth management professionals.
Yeah.
I don't have all of it either yet, by the way. I heard someone use that term. I liked it. It's like all the stuff you have to figure out to make money, to protect your assets. IRS now has 86,000 new agents. You know, so there's a lot of things going on that a business owner has to be concerned about. I would love to have. I still don't. Do I have the best people all the way around? I don't know. But you got to have attorney. You got to have CPA, accounting. You got to have asset protection specialist and stuff like that. And you have to have a marketing specialist. To call the coach, and you probably need a coach.
Yeah.
I have a coach. Have all the other things too. I don't know that I have
But you
it.
kind of need the marketing specialist first so you can afford all the other stuff.
Yeah. How do you pay for the coach? The coach was one of the. I mean, I'm not saying that I shouldn't have called the coach first, but no marketing. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. I do know that he has no marketing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying he doesn't have a website. There's no marketing help.
Right.
I'm not going to say anything else. But man done that. Why don't the man get marketing?
Yeah. Like I said, he
The
did
marketing
things in
gets
wrong
the
order.
lead to get the sale to pay for the coach.
Yeah.
If the marketing doesn't go up and the leads don't go up, you don't make extraordinary amounts of more income. How do you figure it all out? But it's hard to figure it all out.
Yeah.
I highly recommend everybody do their best to figure it all out. And I will humbly say it's taken me years. I'm still studying, learning, and I'm figuring out more all the time. Feel better about it all the time. Marketing's always been my strong point of understanding. I understood the marketing early because the marketing, no, I take it back. Marketing is the number one thing. Marketing's first.
Yeah.
Everything else is second. I can't pay for the coach without the marketing lead. I can't pay for the non-GMO pesticide-ridden vegetable without the money to pay for the damn thing. You know, can't pay for all this shit. Gotta have a lead. Gotta have a sale. Makes money. Makes revenue. Makes income. And
Therefore,
I pay for the food, the health. Then I pay for the coach. Then I pay for the CPA. Then I pay for
Everything. Yeah.
everything. Turning to do certain, all the entity structure formations, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Figured out, and it's one little thing at a time. But the marketing cannot be ignored, and you can still. But not only can you do it, it's like probably one of the best times in history to do it, and it's still available.
Right.
But yeah, people should absolutely get after it. Will robots take over in 10 years? I don't know, man. But right now, maybe.
There's a thing going around Twitter right now that there's some AI art generation programs that you can describe what you want, and it throws up a piece that looks like a painting that looks like a person did it. And all these artists are like freaking out that they're going to get replaced. And then someone made the point, this will require clients to actually describe what they want. We're safe.
I wouldn't have thought that was funny 10 years ago, but hanging out with all these
long enough.
hanging out with all these designers and hearing Rupert make it pop and make it spiffy, you know, I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah.
What do those words mean?
I don't know if that'll happen or not, but anyway. Guys, we're here to help you through all this, and we will explain it to you too, and without being condescending about it too, like literally explain it to you. Most web people won't. Most web people don't have the skill sets. They're just taking money and figured out how to.
Well, a lot of them don't understand it.
Don't understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't understand
I
it.
am dealing with a client right now who has a third-party guy doing some non-SEO stuff for him on the side.
Yeah.
And I was having to deal with him, and I was speaking to someone else, and they were like, is this guy a developer? Does he know how to do this? I said, no, this guy knows nothing. He's a salesman. He's using a program that's telling him enter these things and
Right.
then charge a fee. And so, yeah, when you talk to this guy, he's not going to understand a thing you say. And I was right, because they talked to him and they got back to me and they're like, yeah, he didn't know anything we were talking about.
Oh, well, the people do need professional services on it. In my opinion, this is number one. The business won't run without it. You can't do anything else.
Right.
So
Business doesn't exist without it.
try to be nice about it. It was I love my coach, but no, we're first.
Yeah.
We're absolutely first. Anyway, guys, and if people have questions about it, we'll answer them. Seriously, if you're a roofer, listen to Roofing Webmasters. Last 20 of these that we've done are fabulous. And we have a new series called Roofer's Paradise that I think's great. I'm going to start doing a few more of those coming up. The story, roofer's story, and I try to get off in the weeds about what it means to be successful, how to earn money, and stuff like that from what I understand about it. And I think it's a pretty cool deal to listen to. At very least, if somebody will listen to other people's stories, they'll see their successes and failures and hopefully avoid stuff or get helped by it.
Right.
So there's a lot of interesting, even when the roofer that I'm speaking to doesn't really go into what's going on, you can infer where they are at that point.
Right.
And how well they've done, even if they don't share their financials on the show when we're doing it.
Yeah.
But anyway. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that one. It was different. Something I wanted to talk about. We'll see you.
Right. Hit like and subscribe. See ya.
Oh, yeah.